Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make an Ender Dragon house. This isn't a full Ender Dragon, this is simply the Ender Dragon's head with its jaws open, lava spilling out, tongue all over the floor, and you can walk in and you can inhabit its head and use it for a house. I think that this is a pretty cool idea. I would have loved to have taken the entire Ender Dragon and turned it into a house, but honestly, that really isn't worth the time commitment. I don't really want to spend the next 5 hours turning an entire Ender Dragon into the house. But if you do want to do that yourself, I do have a tutorial available. Feel free to check out the card system. I'll leave links to my Ender Dragon, my mob tutorials playlist, my school that you may be able to see over there, a couple of the baby statues that I've been working on. I'll leave you some really cool stuff if you want to continue building after this. But moving on, if you want to make the Ender Dragon head, here's what you're going to need. Grab yourself some endstone, then grab yourself some obsidian block. Also, grab yourself some cyan stained clay. We will also need some block of quartz. Grab yourself some magenta wool, some purple wool. We'll also need some light grey wool, and silly me, I've already forgotten we're going to need some red stained clay. I know that that seems like a bit of a weird order to grab things in, but there's so many different materials, I kind of forgot that we needed some. So that is what you're going to be needing, guys. Once you have each one of those, this is what you want to do. So once you have each one of your materials, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'll be making it right here. I'm going to kick off the Ender Dragon house with 2 endstone coming directly up from the ground. That'll be 1 and 2. Now, you don't have to use the endstone if you don't like. I'm using the endstone as a little platform for the Ender Dragon's bottom jaw to kind of sit on, but you can actually build it straight off of the floor if you so choose, or even higher if you so choose. Now, once you have your platform of endstone or not, you then want to, on top of this endstone, place an obsidian block. Now, coming behind this obsidian block, and by the way, where I've just planted this block of quartz, this is where the front of the house is going to go, so it's going to be up front here, so we're now actually building backwards. So, coming back from this obsidian block that we just placed, we want to do a row of 4 obsidian. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to do an up left diagonal, still going back, and then go left of it by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an up left diagonal, and go back by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then go up on top of this 4th block by 9. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then go right of this 9th block by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an upright diagonal. Go right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do an upright diagonal. Go right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then come down by 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then go left by 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a bottom left diagonal. Go left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do a bottom left diagonal, go left by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th block should actually hit where we've already placed, so we can't actually place 4. The 4th block is the vertical row that we've now turned into the letter E. Once you've got that taken care of, you now want to come all the way back to the very first obsidian block that we placed, and on top of this we want to go up by 3 with the obsidian. That's 1, 2, 3. We then want to go left by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an up left diagonal. Go left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do an up left diagonal. Go left until you connect all the way back to that weird looking letter E that you made. So you should have something which should look like this, and you might be able to recognize this. This is like the side of the jaw. Once you've got that taken care of, you now want to come to the inside part of what you've just made. So we kind of want to be looking at it dead on like this. And we want to take this top obsidian block that we have on the front here, this one right here, you guys can see the one, the lower part of the jaw, and go right of this by 4 with your obsidian. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. You then want to go right by 2 with your red stained clay. That's 1, 2. We then want to go right by 5 with the obsidian. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We then want to go down by 3, that's 1, 2, and 3, and then connect all the way back over to the opposite side to give us something which should look a little bit like this. And once we have this, we can now actually, coming to the opposite side of what we've made, we can now make the other side of the mouth. So to do that, we're just going to be doing literally the exact same thing. What we're going to be doing is starting from this bottom block right here. You guys can see the one that like we came down by 3. It's this third block. We want to go right of this by 4. So towards the back of the Ender Dragon, we want to go right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an upright diagonal. Then go right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an upright diagonal. Go right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to go up by 9. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We then want to go left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an up left diagonal. Left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up left diagonal. Left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down by 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bottom right diagonal. Right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bottom right diagonal. Right by 3 until you connect all the way back to where you first started. And that is the upper half of the mouth. Let's do the lower half. So the lower half of the mouth, this corner block here, we want to go right of this by 4 with the obsidian. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an upright diagonal. Right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an upright diagonal. And then go right until you connect all the way back to the lower part, or the back part of the mouth, I should say, not the lower part. So we want to have something which should look a little bit like this. And if you want to make this a bit more of a shape, you can kind of like come to the back of the mouth and you can connect some of the corner blocks together to just turn it into a bit more of a proper shape and make sure that everything lines up properly, which it seems to. You can do the same at the front, like at the top half of the mouth here. You can just connect some of the corner blocks together if you so want, and we can just turn it into like a big proper shape. I like to do this sometimes just because it kind of like, it just turns it into more of a shape rather than just some lines, and it makes it a little bit easier to visualize and work with. That's just me though, I'm a little crazy sometimes. Now, once you've got that taken care of, we're going to give it nostrils. So, all the way up at the top of the mouth here, we want to fill in the top part of what we've just made, or at least most of it. So you want to fill in like the first little section here. So can you see what I'm talking about? I said most of it, but I didn't really mean most of it. So right at the top of the mouth part, we just want to fill in this like first layer of 5. So you just want to fill in these rows, and then once you've got that taken care of, you then, starting from like the 2 front corners at the top of the jaw, we want to, starting from this corner block here, for instance, this front top left hand one, we want to come in by 1 diagonal. Then we want to place a row of 4 obsidian coming back. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a row 4 directly to the right. Then add a layer of obsidian directly on top of what you've just made. So you want to have something which should look like this. Do that on the left, do that on the right. So coming over to the right hand side now, starting from this top right front hand corner, we want to come in up left diagonal, up by 3, 1, 2, 3, do a layer of obsidian to the left of that, add a layer on top. There you go. You have the 2 nostrils, the 2 big giant holes in the top of the Ender Dragon's mouth. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So, come all the way around to the back of what you've made. You want to be in line with this very bottom row of your Ender Dragon, and you want to extend it backwards by 1 row. So, take this row, this bottom row, extend it backwards by 1 row. Extend that row left and right each by 2. So, I've already done it on the left hand side there, but you want to take the row and extend it out by 1 and 2. So, on either side, 1 and 2, like that. You then want to take each one of the second blocks and go up on top of them each by 15. So that'll look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And you want to do the same with the other one, except because we want to connect them together, you can just drag that 15th block all the way over to the right and you can connect it down to the opposite side. So you want to turn it into a nice big square shape like this. Once you have your square shape, this is what you want to do next. So we have to do his eyes. His eyes sit 2 rows down. Well, I guess it's technically 1 row down from the top. Okay, never mind. Let's not explain this. You're on the front of the statue, you're underneath the top of your square. Add first of all a layer of obsidian underneath the top part of the square, like this. And then for the next row, coming from the left hand side, you want to do 1 obsidian, then 3 cyan stained clay, that's 1, 2, 3. Then 2 bottom right diagonals, that is 1 and 2. Then what you want to do is underneath the row of 3 cyan stained clay, going from left to right, do 1 magenta, 1 purple, 1 magenta. Then starting from underneath this first magenta, going from left to right, do 1 magenta, 2 purple, 1 magenta to give you that eye. Once you've done that eye on the left, do the eye on the right. So we're coming over to the right hand side here, starting from the right, we want to do 1 obsidian, 3 cyan stained clay, that's 1, 2, 3. We then want to do 2 bottom left diagonals, that is 1 and 2. And underneath the layer of 3 cyan stained clay, going from right to left this time, we want to do 1 magenta, 1 purple, 1 magenta. Then underneath that, going from right to left, we want to do 1 magenta, 2 purple, 1 magenta, and those will be the Ender Dragon's eyes. Perfecto. Once you have that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So come all the way around to the back of the Ender Dragon's head. Take each one of the 4 corners of the head and extend them, coming out of the back of the statue each by 15. So that's 1, 5, 15. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And we want to do the same with each one of the 4 corners. But since we do want to connect them together, it's going to be easier if you don't count all of them out. If you just take that first one and you kind of just like... You kind of just use that first one to measure out all of the other rows, and the way that I'm doing it is I'm just kind of like going around in a square shape, and I'm getting roughly to the point of where the corner is, and then I'm extending the corner out, and I'm connecting it to where I know 15 is, if that makes any sense. You guys can see how I've kind of constructed that, and you end up with a very large, giant cube shape, like that. That's just obsidian. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next, and do let me have a look at this, guys. There we go. So what we now want to do is come to the top of the head, we're looking down on it, and we're looking from the front to the back. Starting from this front top right hand corner, we want to come across it, and we want to go right by 2 with the obsidian. So inside, we want to literally place these blocks. We want to go 1 to obsidian, then coming towards the back of the head, we want to do 4. We want to do 4 obsidian coming back. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. On top of that 4th obsidian, place a light grey wall. Come back by 5 with the light grey. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do a layer of light grey coming inside the head like that. Then add 3 layers of light grey on top of the light grey. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And we want to, add all of the layers of light grey on top like this. So we're going to end up with something which should look a little bit like that, and that is the horn of your dragon. Once you've done that on one side, do the same on the opposite side. So we're on the opposite side, we're coming in and we're finding the 3rd block, so that's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or actually, we didn't do it that way, but that's how I would usually do it. So starting from this empty space, we want to count in by 2, coming left with the obsidian, that's 1, 2. We then want to come inwards by 4 with the obsidian, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. On top of that block, we want to place a light grey wall. Come backwards by 5 with the light grey, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then place a layer of light grey inside, and then place 3 layers of light grey on top of the shape that you've just made. And that will be your Ender Dragon horn. Simple as that. Let's just add all of these layers of light grey on, and then we can talk about the next bit. So those should be the horns. They're in the right position. We have the Ender Dragon's mouth, we have his head, we have his horns. What do we have to add next? Well, now to make this a little bit easier, what we're going to do is we're going to fill the mouth area of the Ender Dragon in. So fill the sides of the mouth in, and also fill in the under part of the mouth, and also fill in the upper part. And by that I mean like the very top of the mouth, the very bottom of the mouth, the bits that are exposed to the ground. So just to show you, you just want to, like, that's the little front bit, we want to do that to the bottom as well. And the way that we fill this in, we just follow the shape of the jaw, like the lower jaw, the mandible of the Ender Dragon. We just follow the shape. So now obviously we don't just keep going straight, we just keep following the shape. We just want to completely fill this in with obsidian. And the reason that we're doing this, not only do we not want to have any ugly holes in our statue, we just want to have a better shaped jaw. And obviously if you look from the side and you've filled in a big giant empty space with obsidian, it just takes away from it, doesn't it? So we're just filling this in. I usually wouldn't do this on recording. I'm actually not going to be filling the back part of the head in recording, but the jaw is actually quite important. So we're just going to fill this in together, and then we can talk about the next bit. Boom, there we go. And now we've just got to fill the sides of it in and the top part in as well. And Okay, so we're just filling the side in now. Oh, we've also got the front. It's quite big. It's not taken us very long to make this at all. I think this has taken us, the recording says like 14 minutes or so, which means it's slightly less time. It's not taken us very long, but it does actually take quite a while to fill in because it's quite a big build. We've just got this taken care of quite quickly. It's a pretty easy build if you ask me. It looks really, really impressive. It looks really, really impressive from like the outside of the house, and at some angles it looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, it does look good no matter what you look at it, but there's a couple of particular angles. There's like one where you're looking from like a bird's eye view, like diagonally, which I'll probably use for the thumbnail, and this thing just looks absolutely mental. You guys are going to love this once it's finished. It will look great in any world. If somebody sees this, they're just going to be, I think they'll be blown away by it if you actually pull this out in one of your worlds. It's quite good. So we're just filling in the top of the jaw. Now, we don't have too much more to do. And after this, I'll show you how you actually want to shape this thing. So, we just want to finish filling in. Oh my god, it's so hard. It's such a weird shape. So we just want to end up with something that should look like that, and that is for the most part filled in. Now, once you've got that taken care of, and do let me just adjust my plans. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So we now want to fill in where the mouth's going to go and all of that stuff. So can you see here where we kind of have like the outline for the inside of the mouth? Well, you want to add an extra layer of obsidian coming inwards. So can you see like where we have like the outline for the mouth, we want to add an extra layer of obsidian coming inwards, if that makes any sense to you guys. So, I mean, hopefully it does. I mean, it's basically that shape that we kind of like traced along for the outside of the mouth and we kind of like connected together at the beginning. You just want to add an extra layer of obsidian inside of it, and this is where like the teeth's going to sit, and this is where you're going to be able to like walk in, and it just makes the inside of the mouth look a bit more interesting. You'll see in a moment. So we want to have something which should look like that. Now, once you've got that taken care of, you can take out your block of quartz, and on the inside corner blocks of the lower part and the upper part of the mouth, you can just add quartz in each one of the four corners to give you something which should look a little bit like this, and those are quite obviously teeth. We're not going to be adding any more of those. What we can now do is we can add a layer of obsidian just sitting underneath each one of the... Okay, so you want to add a layer of obsidian just underneath like the layer of obsidian that you've placed, if this makes any sense. So like one row lower and inside of the jaw, you want to have an extra layer of obsidian, and this kind of gives the illusion that the mouth is nice, big, and 3D, and it's not an illusion because it actually is the way that we're doing it. It just gives the mouth a little bit of depth, it's a little bit of contrast, and it's also going to provide us a nice little bit of a walkway to walk into the Ender Dragon's mouth. So we want to have something which should look a little bit like this. I'm doing it to the lower half first, so you guys can see, but you can see it's just one row underneath everything that we've just done. It's just one row underneath. It's not so hard. So we just want to have something, we've almost finished it, that should look a little bit like, give it a minute, a little bit like this. And the reason that it's like this, it's actually because the way that we have the tongue designed, the tongue looks a little bit like this. So can you see where we have these red walls here, these red stained clays? We'll knock out the two obsidian behind them, place red clay there instead. Then, doing a little path of red clay coming towards the back of the mouth, you kind of want to just, on top of the obsidian, you just want to do a clear path of red stained clay. Can you guys see what I'm doing? So coming all the way to the like back of the throat here, the back of the mouth, you just want to have a straight path of red stained clay, which acts as the tongue, but it's also a path which will actually take us into the house as well. What you can also do is coming out diagonally from these two front red stained clays, you want to do diagonal red stained clay blocks until you eventually hit the floor like this. So you just want to have something which should look a little bit like those, and we are going to shape those a little bit later. We're going to make those look a little bit more like stairs. So that's what you want to have for the lower half of the jaw, and what you just did to the lower half, you want to do to the upper half. So you know the obsidian that we just added, like just like one row inwards in relation to the obsidian that we added before, that we kind of like went around the inside of the mouth with the layer that we placed the teeth onto. You want to do the same thing for the upper jaw. We want to add the obsidian. Just like one row above it, just to give it a bit more of a finish. So we're just going to be doing that. Easy enough to see what you have to do, hard to describe really. So I'm sure that you guys can get there. I'm gonna have to do it from this angle. Bit of a weird angle. This is I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a rock. So we want to have something. You can see the upper part of the mouth. Nothing fancy in there. It looks a lot of something like that. And that is the mouth pretty much complete, except it's not, because I just remembered. What we're going to do is we want to, like either side of the tongue here, you want to take out your purple wool, and you want to extend the tongue going left and right with your purple, like that. Then you want to knock out these 2 blocks on the left, these 2 obsidian blocks coming up, replace those with purple, so on the left and right, knock out those 2 obsidian blocks. Then connect the obsidian blocks just above them together, left to right at the top, with your purple. We then want to take out our magenta, and we want to do magenta in between each bits of the purple, and we want to leave a 2x2 gap. That's the back of the Ender Dragon's mouth, and that 2x2 gap is going to be where you can actually walk into the house. Now, that is the Ender Dragon's head, pretty much complete. What we're now going to focus on is the atmosphere around it. So, what we're now going to do is take out the end stone. And we're going to have, we can destroy that, we're going to have a layer of end stone that goes all the way around like the lower half of the jaw of the Ender Dragon. So we're just going to kind of like go all the way around it, and we're just going to extend it out by 1, the end stone. Out of the back it can actually come out by 2, because I don't know why, I just want a little bit more of it. So you can see that we're kind of just going to give a little bit of a platform for the end stone to sit on. It's going to look it's going to look a little bit like this, and then around that again, now on the floor, we're going to add another layer of endstone just going around. And I don't know, I thought that I'd add this because it's endstone, obviously Ender Dragon-y, but I also like the idea of it actually sitting on something. Beforehand it was just going to be stone, but I figured, hey, endstone's pretty cool, it goes with the Ender Dragon, why don't we do that? So it'll just look a little something like that, and that's a pretty cool platform. Okay, so the only thing that we have left to do is adding a little bit of lava. Now, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I think that lava is a very large part of why I like this so much. So I figured the Ender Dragon is a dragon. Why not give it a little bit of fire coming out of its mouth? And we're using lava in the form of that. So you can have more of this, you can have less, you can place it in any part of the dragon that you want. This is where I placed it personally. So, coming inwards diagonally from the bottom 2 teeth, I have a lava. So, right here, just 1, and right here on the right, just 1. On the sides of the mouth, I also have an additional one. So, in between the tooth here and the second part of the mouth, we have 1 on the outer part, and 1 on the outer part in between the 2 middle parts. And you'll end up with something that should look, it's not flowed to the ground just yet, but you'll end up with something that'll look a little something like this. And I do think it adds to the statue perfectly. I think it looks really, really, really cool. If you wanted to, you could add more lava, you could even add a little bit of a pool of it. Like, you could do a little bit of a board around it on the ground, you could add a little bit of a pool of it. I personally like it like this. You can do whatever you want. Add more, add less, don't add it at all, do whatever you like. I think that those 4 lava spots in the Ender Dragon is just enough, and I don't think that you have to do anything else to the ground either, but that is just me. Once you've got that taken care of, the next part of this is going to be filling the head of the Ender Dragon in. So this is obviously the front part of the head where the face is, we've got the left and right side, we've got the upper part, we've got the lower part. We're going to be filling all of these parts in with our obsidian block. I'm not doing this on recording because it's going to take a little while. Don't really need to, don't want to add to the actual time of the tutorial. So what I'm going to do, and what I hope you guys will be doing right now, just completely fill in the head with the obsidian. I'm going to peace out for a second. I'm going to do it off recording because, like I said, I want to add like an extra 5 minutes to the tutorial. But I'll be back in just a moment once this is all filled in with obsidian, and we can talk about the potential inside of the dragon's head. So this is what the Ender Dragon house looks like once it has been 100% fully filled in, and this, I think, is the most impressive view of it. This is my personal favorite position. I think that it looks fantastic from this view. I've also messed about with the interior just a bit. I've not done much, trust me. I'm just going to show you what it can look like and how much room you have. So that's the head. That's what it should look like once it's been filled in. Just to show you guys how this operates. So the idea is that you walk up along this tongue. You don't fall into the lava. That would be very, very bad. So you walk up alongside of this tongue, and you come through the mouth here, still jumping up the red stained clay, and inside of here we've leveled off the underside of the mouth. This is actually the bottom of the mouth, thinking about it. Like, we haven't had to add any more obsidian in here. We've had to fill in the inside a little bit, and we've had to add an extra layer of wool, and we've had to add some obsidian and add some light sources. We have glowstone at the bottom, we have glowstone around the mouth, we have glowstone at the top. This is more than sufficient lighting. I've still continued the tongue theme, which has led all the way to the back of the Ender Dragon's head, and right here we have kind of like an Ender Dragon themed bed. I thought that that was kind of like a cute idea. It's kind of like two beds sat inside of the Ender Dragon's little miniature pixel art head, and around this you could add whatever you want. You could add chests, you could add armor stands, you could add kitchens, you can add whatever you want. There's an alright amount of room. You could even add a second floor in here if you so chose. I'd probably add it around the top of the mouth area here if you so chose. Completely up to you, but I kind of like the single room. You could turn this into not a large survival house, but you could definitely have a survival house inside of this. It probably wouldn't be a I said survival house, I don't know why. You could probably have a house, but it probably wouldn't be fit for survival. That's what I was trying to get at. Probably wouldn't be fit for survival. It's more of a novelty type thing. It wouldn't be your main deal. So that's the Ender Dragon style house. Hopefully you guys like it. I really, really like it. It's one of my favorite houses that I've made today, actually, because of this. I think that this makes it look so cool. It's unbelievable. So hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you've managed to make it yourself. If you have, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a like, favorite, a share. I hope that you guys really, really appreciate this. I know I've been doing a lot of Ender Dragon related builds recently, but after making the big boy over there that you might be able to see in the background, I've just been inspired to make a couple of builds, and this is probably going to roughly be the last Ender Dragon related build that I'm going to be doing for a while, don't worry. So hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you've managed to make it. If you've done both those things, please, I'd really appreciate a like, favorite, and a share on this one. I think that this is really, really cool and inventive. Card system, feel free to check that out, and you'll find links to the Ender Dragon in the background, the school, the baby Ender Dragon, and maybe I'll even include my little baby Enderman that's over there as well, among maybe my mob tutorials playlist. Comment down below, what do you want to see me make next? Do you like this? Do you want to see other stuff like this? Would you like me to turn any more mobs into houses? Who knows? Let me know, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Like, favorite, share if you wouldn't mind. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. Check out the card system. Comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.